Welcome to the City Manager's Report. The City Manager's Report is your preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda and an update from your Oshkosh City Manager. Your hosts, Emily Makowski of Oshkosh Community Media and City Manager Mark Roloff.
Hello everyone, and thank you for again joining us on your City Manager's Report. I'm your host, Emily Makowski, and joining me as always is Mark Roloff, your City Manager. Thanks for joining us today, Mark.
Great to be here, Emily.
Now we've got some great items to talk about today, and as always we'll devote the first half of the program to talking about some hot topics around the city, and then we'll move on to go over the council agenda for Tuesday, September 24th at 6. So first off, we had a business survey happen and talking about the new expanded business district. Can you tell us what the business community told us in this survey that we did?
Well, this started out with some businesses primarily in the North Main Street area and the South Main Street area and Oregon Street neighborhoods. None of these businesses are currently in what's known as the Business Improvement District. You may hear the word BID around there a lot. There's areas immediately north of downtown that are, for example, in some of the farmers market area, but they're not part of the BID. And they asked about the possibility of perhaps becoming part of the existing Business Improvement District or perhaps forming their own. And then for the South Main Street and Oregon Street, they had also asked, well, can we form our own Business Improvement District? So one of the things that has to get done is you really need a lot of interest from the businesses, because business improvement districts can only be formed when enough businesses express an interest. You actually have to have a full majority at least for this to happen. So our staff worked with UW Extension folks to survey the business community and get some ideas on what areas or what's important to them, not just about a bid, but also just in general, what things would you like to see? And so they were surveyed on a variety of issues. They were asked about what downtown development efforts so far they like, dislike, or whatnot. And events like the Farmers Market, the Gallery Walk were things that were rated very high. Very happy about the improving appearance of the downtown, the Riverwalk, and just the hotel and more people being downtown as a result of all those things happening. So those are all real good things. A lot of programs they would like to see, more business assistance services, business recruitment, loan programs. They would like to see us work a little better on things like building restoration, more streetscape, landscaping type of improvements. And actually it was kind of interesting. They asked about doing more code enforcement to buckle down a little bit more on properties that maybe aren't looking so good. So it was a variety of things that they provided input on that they would like to see.
And as far as the survey goes, I understand that some businesses were looking to either join or to create their own bid, and it looked like they were leaning towards expanding the current bid that is in place right now.
Well, the question didn't specifically get to a bid. They said, would you willing to spend more resources? But only 42% of the people indicated that. So that's not enough to generate a business improvement district. And then we had a follow-up meeting to get people to come, and there were only a handful of folks that came to these meetings, and there is a little reluctance to move forward with it. So we're kind of stuck until the businesses really say they want to do something. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to expand the bid because there's not enough interest generated. So we're always willing to do it in the future, but we're really going to need the business community to speak up on it.
Great. Moving on, if we could discuss some upcoming TIF, or in other words, tax increment finance district closures going on. Can you first just tell us what happens when a TIF closes?
Well, the whole concept behind a tax increment financing district is that for a period of time, the additional property value that's been generated goes to a special fund to pay for public improvements or pay for redevelopment in areas. And we've got over 20 tax increment districts that the city has had over the lifetime. When a district closes, there's a couple things that have to happen. First, you have to make sure that all the obligations of that district have been paid off, that there's no outstanding obligations of that district or future obligations that you need. Once that's decided, then the issue comes to, well, we have to redistribute the remaining funds that were in the district, and then what happens is the value that's been growing in this district over the years really starts to get redistributed to all the taxing entities, including the city, the county, the school district, and the Fox Valley Technical College district. So all of those entities have a say in what happens when we close the district.
Okay, and so what information do we have right now on TIF closures currently and in the future?
We have 4 tax increment financing districts that we know are on the verge of being closed. Tax increment financing district number 6, that's actually one of the north side industrial parks. That's in the process of being closed right now, and we've got about, I believe, $900,000 that is left in that district. So that'll be distributed to all the other taxing entities, and then they'll gain the property value for their respective entities, the school district, Fox Valley Tech, the county, the city. Tax increment financing district number 8, that's actually an old aviation industrial park from many years ago. There's a few $100,000 left in that fund. That's due to be closed in 2014. Then in 2015, tax increment financing district number 9, that's the district where Washburn Avenue is, going all the way down to Plainview Truck Stop. That's due to close in 2015, and we've got some things that have been going on with that we'll be happy to talk about. And then tax increment financing district number 7, that is what I call the big kahuna. That is our largest, most successful tax increment financing district in history in Oshkosh, and that's due to close 2016 or 2017, depending on what obligations it has left over.
And I understand you were briefing me before the program today a little bit on TIF number 7, how they are able to help other TIFs that are having financial problems. I think you described it as a donating TIF?
Yeah, donor TIFs are allowed by state law, and TIF 7, because it's been so successful, has been a donor TIF primarily for the downtown redevelopment projects. Downtown redevelopment TIFs are always the toughest because you're really trying to recreate something there. And we've had some great successes there, but in order to get to that point of being successful, you have to invest just a ton of money because you're purchasing land, you're cleaning it up, and we've got all these old industrial sites. And if we didn't step in and do it, nobody would step in. So we buy the land, clean it up, and then we essentially sell it to a developer to redevelop it and make it look nice and add tax base to the community. Some of our downtown TIF districts, primarily TIF number 20, which is the South Shore, everything south of the river almost from Wisconsin Avenue, Ohio Street, all the way over to the Pioneer. That one has fallen on some tough times with the Pioneer closing, the Pioneer Inn closing, the value went down, the Geldwin site, so that one's really having some tough times. We're proposing to take some money from tax increment district number 7 and put it into 20 to basically make it whole again.
Kind of level the playing field a little bit.
Yeah, kind of reorganize it, make sure it's all well and good. Meanwhile, a lot of the taxing entities, the school district, the county, even the city, has been waiting for TIF 7 to close so we can start reaping the benefits of this wonderful tax increment district. So what we've taken a look at, a lot of people may have heard about TIF number 9 was on Washburn Street, a proposal for a trail, and we had escrowed some funds over there. Well, given all that the needs are in the downtown area for TIF 20, we think it would probably be a show of bad faith if we continued with that. So we're unilaterally planning to go away from having a trail out there. That's about $3 million that we can redistribute to all the taxing entities, and that's where the chart showed. That's due to be in about 2015, so we would redistribute those a little earlier than what TIF number 7 would be. It won't be as much as TIF 7 initially, but at least gets the ball rolling on some of these closures.
Kind of balancing it out a little bit here.
Yeah, and we want to make sure that we're fair to all the taxing districts. They've been very cooperative with us, very supportive of our efforts to redevelop the downtown. They recognize the benefit that they get when we do these redevelopment projects. So it really is a win-win for everybody. But we are going to use probably as much as $9 or $10 million in remaining TIF 7 funds to clean up TIF 20, and then once that's all done, then we can close that TIF and redistribute those funds to everyone.
Excellent. Switching gears a little bit here, there's been word about expanding some of the riverfront housing in more specifically around Marion Road. Can you tell us a little bit about, first of all, this project? What's the background on it?
Well, this is another tax increment financing district. This is actually TIF 21. This is the Marion Road area, and the Plan Commission recently approved an apartment complex to add to what's known as the Rivers Complex. This would be the Rivers 2. So this would be the next phase of riverfront development. The idea is to bring residents back to the downtown area, a little bit along the riverfront, very attractive. The Riverwalk's there. The whole idea is to develop more interest in the downtown area. And
now this apartment building being in this hot spot in this downtown area, I think the big question is, does this mean market-based rents at this particular complex?
Yeah, it does. I know there were some questions about that. I understand that the developers may be seeking some financing that would require them to make some units available to moderate income residents, but the moderate income rents are market-based rents, so they're the same rents that you or I would pay regardless of what your income is. So even though some units may be set aside for moderate income, it's not low-income housing, it's not subsidized housing either, because they end up paying the same rents as you or I would. So it's a very good idea for this development to occur. There's some questions about what we do next, but it really would be a good addition to the downtown, and it'll help Tax Increment District 21 financially succeed, which is what we want to happen in the first place.
Great, thank you. And then moving on, just a quick little street construction wrap up here. We've gotten a lot of complaints about the intersection at the 24th and Oregon Street to open up, coming up on October 1st, I think it was.
I was waiting for that to be a question mark because we've been asked that question so many times. But yeah, it is October 1st. Street projects, especially in high traffic areas, they don't just get the attention of a neighborhood. If it was in our neighborhood, we'd notice it and it would bother us. But this doesn't just do neighbors. This does people going to Oshkosh Corp, people going to any of the businesses
their daily
in the
commute
South.
to work every day.
Exactly, their daily commute. So it is a little more irritating, and it's totally understandable that the residents are waiting for this project to get done. Trust me, I'm waiting for this one to get done too.
And along with that, there's a lot of other projects that are kind of wrapping up. Can you tell us any other projects that are finishing up soon?
Sure. New York Avenue is pretty much open. That was our north side project area this year. Took a little look. I got some folks out there looking for me, and that's pretty much done. We've got some landscaping finishing up to do, but it's pretty much done. So that one's in very good shape. There are some other developments around 10th and Main, 10th and Oregon. Still, that one still has a little bit of work left to do. But as I always say, a lot of the contractors are deer hunters. They'll be done before deer hunting season, trust me. But actually, we think that we're going to get that done pretty much by the end of October.
Okay, so although a lot of the construction projects will be wrapping up around the end of October, that doesn't mean that we're completely out of the woods, does it?
No, usually when we're talking about those construction projects, those are projects that involve laying of asphalt, laying of concrete, because you got to get that done before the snow starts flying. But we can actually get a lot of utility work done in the winter. We dig a little bit. It doesn't get too, it's not too wet and damp that it's soft soils. If we're only doing utility work, winter's not a bad time. You'll recall that we've done a lot of our stormwater pond projects in the winter because it's a good time to dig, and it's a good time for contractors who are normally digging up streets. It's their off time, so actually we get pretty good rates to get the work done. So there's a lot of value to getting projects done in the winter.
I mean, even starting out the big basin out here at City Hall, they started that around winter time, is that right?
Yeah, there was still snow flying. It was probably early March, so we still had some snow. The James Road Pond, that started last November, December, and it's just now getting finished up. wintertime's a wonderful time to do those types of projects. So even though the street may be paved, we're still scurrying around town getting other things done.
Right, and speaking of the City Hall parking lot, can you give us a little bit of an update of what's going on currently?
Well, this is the second phase of the project. This is just a parking lot project. So this is between City Hall and the Public Safety Building. And you can see that some curb has already been poured, and that curbing is pretty much done now. So you can see in the middle there, that's a biofilter. That's to help clean the stormwater that goes in there. But it's pretty much ready to get the final grading done and then paving. So even though this is being shown on September 19th, and we've been saying the work should be done around November 1st, this looks very good to me.
Yeah, once you see those curbs, you usually know that's a sign that the end is near.
Exactly. You were learning this so well, Emily. It really does. Those are the telltale signs that work's getting done. So I see in the next week the final grading and then the prep work for paving. I wouldn't be surprised if this is done certainly by the end of October. And I would bet right now that you're probably going to see it done within the next few weeks.
Excellent. So now moving on to one of my favorite segments of the show. It's called Question Mark, a chance where viewers can ask Mark, your city manager, a question and he can answer it. Let's take a look and see what the question is this week. All right, Mark, the question this week is, when will the city start fall leaf pickup?
It's 80 degrees today. Why does anybody want an answer to that question? I haven't seen the leaves fall too much. But for those of you who are planning, Monday, October 14th is the week we're going to start leaf pickup. So it usually is the day after your garbage collection day. So if your garbage collection day is Monday, October 14th, you probably want to have your leaves out for Monday or Tuesday October 15th. So whatever your garbage day is, it's the day after. And we'll be making the rounds around the city beginning about that time as the leaves start to fall. So remember, don't put them in the curb. We've talked about that. Keep them in the terrace. We'll get there. It's a little tougher this year. There's some rules that have been changed for our end, but not for you. Get them in the terrace that week starting October 14th, and we'll take care of the rest.
And you can learn more on the city website as well as far as days and times that happens.
Sure.
So we're going to take a quick break now on your city manager's report, and when we come back, we'll go over the city council agenda for this Tuesday, September 24th. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Mayor Bergtauer, and I'm asking for your help. The city has several boards and commissions that play important roles in just about every aspect of local government. Whether it's the Parks Board or the Landmarks Commission, these and other boards act as a forum for citizens to address their concerns and questions about Oshkosh city government. The boards also provide members the opportunity to make positive suggestions to the council or city staff to move the city forward. So here's where we need your help. For our city to work effectively, we need active citizen participation. Many of our boards and commissions currently need members. We're asking for just a few hours of your time each month to serve on one of our boards or commissions and help to ensure a strong democratic process. So please consider serving on a city board or commission. For an application, visit the city website, stop by the city manager's office in City Hall, or call 236-5000. Thank you for your interest, and we look forward to your possible involvement.
We're back on your city manager's report. Thanks again for joining us, Mark. And it's now time, that time of the show, to go over the city council meeting agenda coming up on this Tuesday, September 24th at 6 p.m. You can watch the meeting live on City Cable 10 or on OshkoshCommunityMedia.org. So Mark, first we'll start out with some of the consent agenda items. First off, number 4, to retain some stoplights at an intersection of West 9th Avenue and West Haven Drive. What can you tell us about that? Well,
this is a petition that has been floating in piles and piles. We have actually 80 pages of petition signatures from various people asking that the council keep the signals at the intersection of 9th and West Haven.
And those were originally temporary signals.
They were originally temporary signals, all associated when we were doing the Highway 41 work, and the council was asked to leave the signals in there, which the council did. The permanent signals have not been installed yet, and that's really a function of money. And this project was discussed at the Traffic Review Board, and it's been brought to their attention that as a result of those signals, there's been an increase in accidents out there, because what's happening is on 9th Avenue, the signals are backing up traffic on 9th and people are rear-ending one another. We've got a few more accidents out there than we did in the past. With that said, I've gotten no indication from any member of council that they want to change this, but the Traffic Review Board, their responsibility is to report on things that they feel are necessary. They felt that the signals should still be removed. At the same time, my staff with transportation has asked, where do we put permanent signals in? And we've got a little dilemma because the Traffic Review Board's saying one thing, and we've got these signals in the CIP, our capital improvement program. I've put the permanent signals in there for 2016 because it's a very expensive project. It's not just the signals, it's also redoing the intersection a little bit, so we got to do it right.
So the signals won't be coming down?
I don't anticipate they would be coming down. I think the council is going to take this issue up when we talk about the capital improvement program in November as far as our 5-year capital improvement plan. But I don't anticipate any changes right now. The petition's been filed. I think 80 pages of petitions are pretty loud and clear. I suspect the council's not going to do anything.
All right. Moving on to item number 8, a bid for parking structure repairs for the city center parking ramp. $66,000. Is that enough for the repairs at the parking ramp?
There are a lot of repairs that need to get done at the parking structure. We had a study done even before people were bidding on redoing the hotel. And the hotel has been wonderful to work with. We identified a lot of projects that need to get done out there. This is the first phase of them, and the hotel, for their part, has agreed to assess a per room night charge to their guests to help fund these improvements. And so we're going to be fronting a little bit of the money on the front side, but over time, the payments as the visitors and guests of the hotel pick up, they'll fund more of it. But we need to get some improvements done out there before it gets worse. It's an old structure. It's over 30 years old. We need to make sure we're maintaining it. So this is a first step towards that.
Excellent. Item number 13, having to do with Oshkosh Oktoberfest. Some special events going on around here. So can you tell us, it's not at the Leach this year, is it?
Right, and that's probably the main reason we want to point this out, because many people have gone to Oktoberfest at the Leach. They're trying something new this year. They want to try to get a little more action around the Riverwalk. I think the Dockside Tavern's been a big sponsor with that. So they're going to hold it in the parking lot of the Dockside Tavern. It's going to be over there on October 5th. So just want to let people know that so they're not going over to the Leach and wondering where it's at. It's going to be over here.
Great. Also, another special event request, the holiday parade. When is it this year, Mark?
Well, we always want to make sure, even though we joked about it, still summertime and everything. November 14th, which is a Thursday.
A little earlier this year.
Little earlier, but we always try to get a little bit ahead of before deer hunting and people go away. So the 31st annual holiday parade will be Thursday, November 14th. You'll see more about it coming up, but if you're planning your schedule for the fall, you may want to pencil that one in. It's a great family event, and I encourage people to attend.
Excellent. Moving on to item number 28, a joint workshop with the Council, Plan Commission, and the Redevelopment Authority on that riverfront development. So this was brought up at the last meeting. What can you tell us about the topic now? Yeah,
Councilmember Cummings brought it up, and I think you got a lot of interest from other council members that we need to take a look at the entire riverfront and get a full-fledged, comprehensive plan for that area. This came up during the discussion of the rivers, which we talked about earlier. Do we want residential? Do we want a lot more residential, a little more? How much commercial? What other uses are down there? And so Councilmember Cummings, I think, believes that having those different groups together, we can lay out some long-term plans. So he'd like to first meet with the groups, the boards and commissions that deal with that. It's the Plan Commission, the Redevelopment authority as well as the council. So sometime after the first of the year, we'll have a little workshop and get a little visioning going, and then we'll see where we go from there to develop some long-range plans for the riverfront, both sides, north and south.
Okay, so we'll hear more about those plans to come as we go.
Exactly.
Great. Future agenda items. We have another budget workshop meeting coming up on September 25th at 5:30, from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. This is the next one that's going to be, actually, what can you tell us it's going to be about this time?
Well, this is the third in a series of 3 pre-budget workshops. This one's going to have to do with our capital improvement plan, and really it's going to have more to do with our ability to borrow for our capital improvements. We've been very aggressive on our capital improvement program the last few years, and that's been great. We've had some great results, but as we borrow for these capital improvements, our debt continues to climb, and before it gets out of hand, we really need to take a look at that and say, how much more can we borrow? We're pretty much only able to borrow as much as we're paying off right now. So as we pay off some debt, we can take on some more, but our capital improvement program is going to be as much a function of our ability to borrow as our capital needs. So we have to keep that all in perspective, and we're going to be talking to council about that and what we're looking at for the future.
Right, and again, the budget workshop meeting is on September 25th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. It'll be live on City Cable 10, or you can also watch it at oshkoshcommunitymedia.org. And then our last item to discuss on the agenda this week is a report on Transit Advisory Board meeting for GO Transit Route number 9. So what happened at this meeting?
Well, the whole idea was that we wanted to get the Transit Advisory Board to weigh in on input that some residents had been making about different aspects of new routes. Specifically, in this case, Route 9, which serves the 2 major health facilities, Mercy Medical Center and Aurora Medical Center. Unfortunately, there was not a sufficient number of people there to have a quorum for the Transit Advisory Board. But the Transit Board members that were there were more than happy to listen to the residents out there. And we also had a couple council members in attendance because they knew that this was a topic that was of great interest. So we're going to report to the council at this Tuesday's meeting, but what we heard was a continuation of real strong need from residents to have closer to the door service for the hospitals. A lot of folks have an expectation that we provide door-to-door service. That is virtually impossible in a public transit system.
So this is a matter of the buses pulling into the parking lot and dropping them off at the door rather than dropping them off at a site
right at the side of the street.
Okay.
And in the case of Mercy and Aurora, there's quite a walk to get into the front door, and that's not including where else you may need to go once you get in the door. So we've asked our staff to take a look at what would it take to restore that service, because we've actually added some new destinations on our routes, and we're actually getting some demand for these other locations. We're serving the Southwest Industrial Park, so people who previously could not take the bus to work can now take the bus to work. So we don't want to take away those services. So how can we shoehorn a little bit more service in there? And so we did. I think we've been successful in doing that. We're going to report to the council what we've been able to do. I think we're going to be able to at least look at an experiment of trying to get bus service restored to the front doors of each of those facilities.
Again, an ongoing process of continuous improvement.
Yeah, we're going to keep going at it, and that's appropriate that we need to do that.
All right, Mark. Well, thank you again for joining us today. We're already out of time. Again, the City Council meeting is this Tuesday, September 24th at 6 p.m. You can watch it live on City Cable 10 or on our website at oshkoshcommunitymedia.org. You can also listen to it at 101.9 WOCT. Make sure you like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter for all of your community and government programming and updates, or you can even check out our YouTube channel for past episodes of your favorite programs. If you're a Pinterest user, you can go ahead and check out our board for the latest and greatest snapshots of the city. And don't forget, if you have a question for City Manager Mark Roloff, send it to questionmark@ci.oshkosh.wi.us, and he'll answer it on the next episode of CMR. Thanks again for joining us this week on Your City Manager's Report, and we'll see you next time.